Okay, that's great. Okay, and so do you have any idea about like it was a huge project, obviously, but then how much worth of a project was it, like in terms of a dollar amount, if you have
Oh,
any idea?
it was about hundreds of millions. As I said, there were multiple. There was Shell involved in it. Shell was involved on the refinery side.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they were changing their entire gas pipeline. The government, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like what Saudi does is that they pump gas at the uh, eastern near the eastern coast at the eastern part, and
Okay.
they transport it to the western to Yanbu. Yanbu is a place near Jeddah,
Mm-hmm.
where they have their more refineries, and that's where most of the gas distillation happens. That's where they uh, put their fill their gases into tanks and stuff, and from there they transport the gas to Europe and US everywhere. So the entire mode of transportation was being uh, how should I say restructured.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a very huge project. Like there were many companies involved, like around 25 or 30 companies, and we were a subcontractor for a company which was again a subcontractor for the government.
Oh, okay.
So the company which I was working for was a subcontractor to a subcontractor.
Yeah.
GCC was I believe GCC was a contractor to the Aramco, and
Mm-hmm.
Aramco was the contractor of the Saudi government, Saudi Aramco.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, and so any other thing from this role, any other detail or anything that you think you haven't shared so far, or something that could be worth mentioning for the resume?
Did I mention that I did a course on uh, PLCs uh, this last summer?
No.
Um, yeah, it's in my independent. Wait a second. Yeah, I did a course in India. Like I came
Mhm.
here US during the last fall, and I had gone back to India for my summer vacation. So I
Okay.
did a course on PLCs, on SCADAs, on SCADA systems, and the designing part. So I did a lot of work there, a lot of really good projects on PLCs,
Mm-hmm.
and like all those technical skills you see on my resume, ETAP, not ETAP, Wonderway, Cytec, WinCC. These are all different types of SCADAs. And then in PLCs, there's so machine that Schneider Electric. GS
Mm-hmm.
developers, basically Mitsubishi's version of PLCs. RS
Okay.
Logic is Allen Bradley's, and Symantec is Siemens. So
Okay.
these are really high in demand right now because PLCs are devices. They have a different coding to them. It's
Okay.
not like your normal C, C++, Java coding. It has like it's called ladder logic. So it has different rows and columns in it. So you make a row and it has like two or three commands. So NONC is it's very different. So I
Okay.
don't know how I didn't mention it, but I did a course under this independent institution called wait a second, I forgot the name also.
Okay.
uh, yeah, so as I said, I did a course on PLCs and SCADAs. So
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make that as my core point.
Okay. And you were mentioning that you did some projects in that course as well. So can you tell me something about those projects?
Project, it was like we were given different situations, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, we were asked to build the code for the program as per the situation. Like
Okay.
let me check. Uh, Jump subroutine. Um, but suppose there's an MCB, there's a process like a working process in a company, in a factory, like a company, like there's a mixture bowl, and element A goes into it first, and then element B goes into it, and then element C goes in, but at the same time it starts mixing, and there's a certain sequel. Everything is supposed to happen, so that's how most of our work on there was.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I
Just meant.
no, I just got my notes. I can give you information about, yeah, mixing sequential techniques. So
Okay.
uh, like we have like two different motors, two different
Mm-hmm.
stuff that's going in there, and we build an entire process of mixing. Like there's like input, output, and there are two different inlets. Mixing with an emergency stop, and multiple starting conditions, like if you need different starting conditions, and timer, using timers, and how like if you are working on a process which needs a
Mm-hmm.
time delay in it, so how you add them, if there's any mathematical operation involved, so and if there's any jump, like if you're working on a sequence and you need to jump a sequence and get into another sequence, so the entire
Mm-hmm.
programming is done through PLC.
Okay. Okay, great. And so, any other thing then from this particular course?
Yeah, I mean, PLC, SCADA, uh, the institute where I had this course was called SMEC Labs, SEMC Labs,
Mm-hmm.
LABS. So
Okay.
we can add it in the resume. I didn't add it because I thought it would be putting a lot more stuff. So I thought it would be much more appropriate to only to add the skills which I learned rather than adding the name of the institute.
Yeah, but I think if you have some, certified expertise in something, then that should come out.
Yeah, I have a certificate from
Mm-hmm.
them. I got a certificate of an automation engineer. It's basically a diploma, more like a automation engineering diploma.
Okay,
The certificate
nice.
which I got from them.
Okay, okay, perfect. Okay, so anything you would like to add about that diploma?
Uh, I mean, they basically taught us on how to operate seven different types of PLCs for the seven different companies. Uh,
Okay.
like those are company specific softwares and modules. So we
Mm-hmm.
learned how to use them, and they taught us about different type of SCADA systems, which were again company specific.
Okay.
Cytec is basically Siemens, and Wonderware is InTouch.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and they taught us about VFDs, variable frequency drives, and about VSDs, speed drives, frequency drives, and how do you use them in machinery. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
like the work of the VFD is that if you have a motor, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
giving an example. Like if you have a motor with which you pump water into your tank, or you just pump water from it. So if you want to control how much water do you pump in a day, or if you
Mm-hmm.
want to control, if you want control on how quick you want water, and uh, how sometimes if you want water at certain time intervals. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how you do it.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So then anything else from your coursework or any certification or anything else from this part?
Um, no, I think I gave you most of the information.
Okay, okay, perfect. And then if we begin with discussing your current degree, and like you have mentioned that you're currently doing your Master of Science in Electrical Engineering at University of Texas. So here, let's just begin with discussing your key projects that you undertook there. Like you have mentioned some brief details, but I would like you to go, in depth to make it easy for me to understand so that I can articulate them better. And yeah, and also I would like to know that, while you did some project, then what was the key benefit of doing it? Because, that really creates an interest that, okay, this project was able to prove this, or you were able to achieve this through this project. So that would be helpful.
Yeah, like you can see this project in my resume. It's designing of an overcurrent relay CO8 and
Mm-hmm.
operating
Yeah.
under various conditions. Yeah, so that was a very really amazing project. So
Mm-hmm.
relay is a device. When you have an electric fault, it's a
Mm-hmm.
device which senses the fault and it sends a signal to the circuit breaker to open the circuit. So that fault doesn't travel further and it doesn't damage, it doesn't uh, catch fire or something. The system doesn't
Mm-hmm.
catch fire. So
Okay.
we were asked to design an entire relay by our
Mm-hmm.
professor. So
Okay.
it was a very learning project. It's a very huge project, and we
Mm-hmm.
designed and working like not the physical but the programming part of it. We did ourselves, and we also had a really good timing. Like our relay was working at 0.1 second of the time when the fault is detected. So in like 0.1 seconds, it was sending out the signal.
Okay, nice.
So that is a really good project over current relay. And
Mm-hmm.
the second is designing of an arc flash current incident energy. So it's basically a calculator. So
Okay.
it's you can attach it alongside with the relay. So the real-time values which we are getting, like arcing current, is the current that if there's any fault, like if a wire touches or if a tree or best example, if a person touches a wire and the person is standing on the ground, so
Mm-hmm.
obviously the person dies or something that happens, but even the power supply gets really messed up because it got connected with the ground. So that creates a certain surge in the system. That surge is called arc flashing current.
Mm-hmm.
So that surge then creates an energy called incident energy, which is basically the thing that causes boom. It causes a blast. So
Okay.
protection boundary is the distance, how long, how far that blast can like it's not an accurate prediction, but it's a prediction on where the blast would occur and how far would its consequences reach. So that's so this was our final project. Like this was our midterm project, the overcon relay, and the arc flashing was our final project. So this entire thing is basically just one huge programming thing. We did everything on MATLAB, but
Okay.
that's how it is.
Okay. Okay.
And
That's great.
my next thing is written temperature measurement. In yeah, it's the PLCs one. I did these for it in my first semester. Uh,
Okay.
to be honest, they weren't as interesting projects. Like basically, we were just measuring temperature uh, using a thermometer, which was connected to a PLC. So
Okay.
we wrote a program in the PLC which tells the temperature from the like which uh, the temperature which is in we use a transducer. So uh, the temperature values were sent in digital format to the PLC, which uh, where it showed us showed it to us on the screen.
Okay.
So it's not a big project. I believe I did better projects in my second semester, but I forgot to add them in my resume. Uh, I did a couple of really good projects
Mhm.
in my control systems classes.
Okay.
Um,
Share with them. You can share them with me right now during the call as well. Like you can tell me about them. Which were those,
yeah,
and yeah.
yeah. So we this subject is called intelligence control. So
Mm-hmm.
This was taught to us by Professor Frank Lewis. He, in control theory, he is one of the best professors in the entire US. He has like several
Okay.
books written on him. So I was his student. So I did a paper under him. Like he asked us to